and we're back with one here. Let's see what we got today. It says, given x plus k quantity squared is equal to x squared plus 10x plus h. The question asks us, what does k plus h equal? Again, another one with a lot of letters going on here. Why don't we pause the video, see if we can do anything with this. We'll come back and we'll solve it together. Alrighty, and we're back here. So, this is, where do we learn this stuff? We learn this probably Algebra 2. We do a good deal of it in pre-calculus as well. Looks confusing because we have a lot of letters, right? A K, an X, and an H. And we're supposed to make sense, and they're looking for a numerical value here for K plus H. Well, let's see what kids know. I'll give you a couple ways to look at this one. I think kids know that x plus k squared is really x plus k, right? And if I do that, I would get this. So we have that. So one way to look at this is, really what they're telling you here in English is they're just telling you that the quadratic itself is a perfect square. So, you have a lot of options here. Probably the quickest way to solve this one would be to say, oh, if it's a perfect square, one thing I can do here is I can complete the square, which we'll deal with that later. I know a lot of kids probably have learned that, but they're not huge fans of that. So we'll look at it in this way. Let's just look at it another way. One thing right, we know how to FOIL out, it's the first, the outer, the inners, and then the last. And usually when we FOIL, right, when we combine the two last terms, that should give us that. So one thing we can determine is that k squared is equal to h. We know that. And really what it's saying is, right, when we combine these two middle terms, some number k times x, and that same number k times x, right, we would add them together and somehow end up with 10. So what's the same number that adds to 10? Pretty sure we can determine that k then is just going to be 5, and if we square that, we would get h to be 25, right, which would give us 30. That's one way to look at it. That is the correct answer. If we want to complete the square, what can we do? Initially, just go here, right? Look at the coefficient in front of the x. Remember, we divide that by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is obviously 5. And then we square that. And when we square that, we get 25. And that gives us our h. So if we put that back in for h, oops, don't do that. Put the 25 there. And that, we can factor that, and you can probably see that would factor to x plus 5, or if you want to get a little fancier, you can write it like that.